fantasy baseball fanatics. How you doing? Welcome to the Fantasy MD's Baseball Podcast. Today is Monday, July 25th. This is our 40th episode. I think I said it was our 40th episode last time. I was the episode off, back in track though, hopefully. This is episode number 40. If you guys been enjoying the podcast, what the MDs have to offer, all the advice we've been given this year so far. We appreciate it if you give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, you just hit the little bell. We'll give you a notification every time we drop a new video. Also, by the way, on Spotify now, we also have our video on there. So if you're not a YouTube fan, you want to go over on Spotify, or if you've just been listening on Spotify, videos available there now as well. Once again, guys, we're doing a little card giveaway. Got a couple of entries here. We would like to see a few more. Guys, it's free stuff here. It's 4 baseball cards, 1 set. If you guys need the info, check out, I know we have it up on Instagram, Twitter, pretty much everywhere. It's a video of myself wearing a Yankee hat. Also in the notes, it will say all the details for the giveaway there if you want to read that. Otherwise, I'm your host, Dominic Martino, here with my brother, Matthew Ane. Matt, how are we doing today, brother?
Doing good. A little hungover from the bachelor party over the weekend.
There you go. How was that?
Oh, I'm hungover.
Well, I think that's about all we could say. We like to keep things a little PG over here. So I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, brother.
Yeah, I'll leave out the details.
Yeah, right. Gonna leave out the details on that one. So just get right into it with the finger on the pulse, per usual. Today we actually got one that's a little bit interesting. We normally talk something that's going on in baseball or, about a specific player maybe. Today we wanted to just throw out some tips, heading into the second half because, it's time, guys. We only got on Yahoo, most of the leagues have 6 weeks left. If you're a crazy person, some people like to play to the last week. So that's about 7 weeks of regular season left, then plus the playoffs. So we're getting there, guys. We're really getting there. So I'm going to kick it off. I kind of just want to say one big, huge thing, that I think it's about time. Guys, cut the dead weight. If you got guys on your team right now that you've been waiting to break out, waiting to, put up some big stats, and if they're just not doing it, it's time to cut bait, man. You can't be holding on to guys that really aren't getting you anywhere. I'll even say this. Even if your waiver wire looks a little thin right now, right? Go out there and grab some guys that have potential or upside or that are hot at the moment. I like to say juice the orange. Get everything you can out of whoever's out there. And maybe you'll find somebody that will help you roll into, the second half here into the playoffs. I'll tell you this. I know I was in a championship in a few of my leagues last year and I rode the hot hand. I just rode guys that were hot, and it really helped me get there. So, I think that's a big one. I would say you can throw out a couple of names. I know Noah Syndergaard's been getting the cut in a lot of my leagues. I cut bait with him a while ago. Somebody can definitely get rid of. And even guys that aren't doing good, I'll give you another name like a Lucas Giolito. I'll be looking to trade somebody like that. Just get these guys off your hands. I'm not saying drop Gio, but he's getting to the point where I know a lot of owners are fed up with him. So I'd be looking to trade guys like that. Just giving you examples of things that I would do. Matt, I see you look like you're chomping at the bit over there. Let's hear what you got to say.
We might have to have a conversation later.
Oh, that's fair enough. We could talk after the pod for sure.
But so one thing I will say is it's a 2-part thing, right? First, find out when your trade deadline is, because the regular season for real baseball trade deadline is in 7 or 8 days.
So August 6th. I'm going to double check that.
Yeah. So next following week. So it's something you definitely want to be aware of. People are going to get moved, which means better opportunity for you. And then knowing
August
yours
2nd, actually. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
August 2nd.
So next week, next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow. So usually, fantasy baseball trade deadline is usually not too far after. So what you want to do is first find that out, and then 2, start identifying where your weaknesses are on your team, and then try and get a trade done before that trade deadline. Start scoping it out now, and then start making those moves. Starting the conversation with a meh or a little bit above meh kind of offer, and then get the conversation going, and then really start attacking on the day before trade deadline, so that you can really kind of pressure people into a box and try and get them to feel the pressure and pull a trigger on a trade that they might have not done a couple of weeks ago. That's usually my strategy: pressure and put them against the wall.
I think you're spot on there. I'm just gonna vibe off of what you said there, and that's solid advice, guys. Like Matt said, identify the trade deadline, identify what your team needs, and then I'll say this: go to the teams that are at the bottom, right? Go to the teams that really don't have a lot hanging on, And if you can go get a couple of, like pieces, like let's say you need a third baseman and a starting pitcher, right? And maybe you have an abundance of first basemen. I know in a couple of my leagues, I have quite a few first basemen, right? So I would be looking to trade from where you're strong. Take let's say like you got maybe a Rizzo or a CJ Crone late in the draft, and you went high on a first baseman, and you got somebody that's really getting the job done. Look to take a guy like that, and maybe get two guys that are pretty good. Like I know Chris Bryant is flying under the radar. He's been healthy lately. Knock on wood. But somebody like that. I know in even in one of my leagues, not somebody I don't even know, went out there and he made 2 trades this week. He traded a Xander Bogaerts for a couple starting pitchers, and I believe he made a big trade too. Traded like he just went from where he was strong to get where he was weak, which was starting pitching. So basically, you want to do stuff like that, guys. You want to
We
just get
missed
it
you
ahead of
real
the
quick,
game. Make sure
Dom.
you're ready for the trade deadline. Hey, go ahead.
We missed you because we had a little freeze real quick. My bad.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah. So I was just basically saying, guys, go from where you're strong. Go out there and identify if you have maybe 2 guys at the same position that are performing well. Trade one of them for where you're weak. I know starting pitcher's tough right now. Guys, go out there and just make those moves. Don't be afraid. I'll even say this: send one offer to every team in your league, right? Even if the team doesn't need something, just send the offers out there. You get conversation started. Somebody will get back to you, and you'll be able to make a move off of that. Other than that, Matt, anything else we should touch on here as far as tips and things headed for the second half?
I would say stay on top of your waiver wire, right? So not just by who's available, what's available, and listen to the MDs and picking up guys who tell you to do, but actually look at what your budget looks like if you're in a fab league, and what your waiver priority is each week in and out, so that you can identify what you need to do to get it, and what you may be willing to spend in terms of that fab to pick up people. That's key coming down the stretch going into the playoffs and the end of the season for that playoff push if you're right outside as well. So that's really just about it.
I got one last thing I'll throw out there is, if let's say your league only has 2 guys, right? I mean, 2 IL spots, right? And you have maybe 4 guys on the IL right now. You got to. It might be a tough cut, but you might have to cut bait with somebody. I'll throw out this. I know we're going to get to it in a little bit, but I'm just going to throw it out there because it fits in right now. If you're in a redraft league and you have Jazz Chisholm, time to cut him. Get rid of him. He's probably not coming back this year. If he does, it's going to be at maybe the last couple of weeks, and he's not helping you until then. If you need to make that playoff push and you only have 2 IL spots, you have 4 or 5 hurt guys. You got to see who's not coming back anytime soon, and you might have to cut bait. If you could throw a trade out there, and get something for him, go for it. But I would just say, don't be afraid to cut those guys that are hurt and they might be out a while, or if the injury looks bad, so like Matt likes to always point out, soft tissue stuff, keeps guys out a while. Guys got a bad back and, they're hitting the IL. It's just the time to move on. Make sure you know what you're doing. Lock in. It's not the time to take a couple days off here. It's really the time where you want to focus and get ready for the playoffs, guys. So that's what we're stressing to you here. So with that being said, I think we're going to move on here. We'll go into our news and notes. Matt, as always, just cut me off if I'm rambling a little bit too much, or if there's anything you would like to say. So we're going to start off one with good news, for me and anyone else that owns Fernando Tatis Jr. He's working his way back from wrist surgery. He was able to take on-field BP over the weekend. He's lined up to head out on a rehab assignment, possibly the end of this week, beginning of next week. The Padres are saying if everything goes to plan, he could be back in the bigs for their series against the Dodgers. That starts August 5th. Fingers crossed on that one. We'll keep you updated as far as that goes. Bryce Harper. This one's a little bit not too bad, but just news. He's working his way back from he got hit on the thumb by Blake Snell, and he's also got that elbow issue. He's looking to have those pins taken out of his thumb next Monday. They checked up on him today. He wasn't ready yet. So we'll have more news for you on him probably next Monday. I know I just mentioned Jazz Chisholm Jr. I mean, this one kind of stinks, guys. He got a stress fracture in his lower back. He could miss the rest of the year. They placed him on the 60-day IL. It does not look good for him at all. As Matt would like to say, we say on the MDs here, those phalanges are looking really, really weak for Jazz. My best advice is, if you're in a redraft league, drop him. If you're in a dynasty keeper league, you could possibly be looking to trade him at the moment, because, I really, man, the injuries are just piling up for the kid over the past 2 years. Hopefully he can get back and get ready for next year.
I don't think he returns this year.
Yeah, me neither, to be honest with you. I don't think he's going to come back. The Marlins have nothing to play for. They have no reason to push him, and I don't see him back this year. As I was just telling you guys, cut him if you have to. There's not really much left here for Jazz. So on to better news. Jacob DeGrom was able to throw a successful side session. They're saying he needs one more rehab start, and then he could be back with the big league team. Best pitcher in baseball when he's healthy. I'd love to see Jacob DeGrom finish the season strong. Then we got Luis Robert. The White Sox threw him on the 10-day IL. There's not really a huge update here. They're saying he's still sick, under the weather. He's feeling lightheaded. Not really a timetable on his return yet, but we will keep you updated here on the MDs. Hopefully, we have something for you guys by Wednesday. Julio Rodriguez got a sore wrist. He's been out of the lineup the last few days, but the Mariners are saying he should be back in the lineup tomorrow, today when you guys are hearing it. So Tuesday, look for Julio to be back, hopefully. Freddie Peralta started a rehab assignment. He went 2 innings, gave up 1 run, struck out 3. The Brewers are saying that he's going to need 2 to 3 more rehab starts before he's back. Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt are unvaccinated. They will miss the series in Toronto. Both with the Cardinals there. Brian Reynolds back to the 10-day IL with an oblique strain. He was a trade candidate, coming into the deadline here. Doesn't look like he's going to be moved. He's all sorts of banged up. So just keep an eye out there for Brian Reynolds. On some good news, Walker Buehler, working his way back from that elbow situation. He is set to throw today, Monday, for the first time since he got hurt. We'll update you guys later in the week and see how that went. Byron Buxton probably got the worst phalanges in baseball besides Adalberto Mondesi. He got a knee issue going on. He got a PRP injection. He's going to miss the next few games. Just keep your eyes out open on that one. I'll say this: if you could trade Byron Buxton for equal value, maybe even 75 cents on the dollar, I'd probably take that right now, because he just always finds a way to get hurt when you need him the most. Then we got John Birdie, leading the league in steals still. He's still a little banged up. He was able to do some running and hitting the batting cage today. They're saying he might be back in a week or so. Once again, we will keep you updated on that situation. JD Martinez with his back issue here. He's missed 4 straight games. He's going to be out a few more days, the Red Sox are saying. Look out for an IL stint here with JD, because I think the Boston Red Sox are going to try and want to keep him healthy, for a playoff run. So he might miss a little bit more time. I wouldn't be surprised. Then we got Bobby Witt Jr. He's day to day with a little hamstring issue. We'll keep you updated on that one too. We'll see if he plays tomorrow, next day. We got Trevor Story, got hit on the hand a while ago. He's finally resumed hitting. They're saying the Red Sox saying he'll be back by next week. Salvador Perez, good news here. He's looking like he's going to beat his estimate, from when he got hurt. They were saying late August, early September, but he's already starting a rehab assignment when you guys are listening to this. And they're saying he could be back in a week or so. So if you got Salvi, that's a good one, guys. He's going to be back very soon. Also got more good news here for you guys. It's not always bad news in the news and notes. We got some good news on here sometimes. Mitch Haniger was working his way back from that ankle issue. He went 1 for 3 with a homer. That's what Mitch Haniger does. I know we talked about him in our last episode. Just hits a lot of bombs. So they're saying he could be back, probably maybe a week or so. So keep an eye out for Mitch Haniger be back in Seattle hitting them home runs. This one, a little bit more scary here. Rafael Devers to the IL with some right hamstring inflammation. I know his back was acting up as well. So just keep your eyes peeled on that one. It's kind of going to be play it by ear situation. I wouldn't be surprised if he missed the next 2 weeks. Better news, my boy Dustin May, been talking about this guy all year. He's scheduled to throw 3 innings in his next rehab start this Friday. He's been ramping up, and I think he could be a big help to the Dodgers rotation here in the second half. He could be a big help to your fantasy team if you have him stashed. I think he's going to have a great finish to the season, and look out for him next year as like a top 30 pitcher, in my opinion. Might even be underselling that one here. We got another Dodger here. Justin Turner is day to day with a abdominal issue. Looks like he might need an IL trip here. We'll let you know probably by the next episode if he did hit the IL or not. But if you have Justin Turner, you might want to look into, a backup third baseman here, because I don't know, it's not looking so good. He's getting a little bit older as well. Then we got Tyler Stevenson. Man, this guy cannot catch a break. He just came off the IL not too long ago, and he's headed to the 10-day IL after he fouled the ball off his shoulder and broke his clavicle. So take what you will with that one. It doesn't seem like he's going to be back anytime soon. Once again, Cincinnati's a team that doesn't have anything to play for. I don't know why they would rush this guy back when, there's not really any reason to. Let him heal up. Wish Tyler Stevenson luck probably for next year. So with all that being said, we're going to head into the waiver wire, and we got a couple of good names here for you guys this week. So you might want to make sure you're listening, paying attention here. We'll start off with a rookie call up, right? Somebody that you may have heard the names before if you're into the prospects. But that's JJ Bleday of the Miami Marlins. He's not really having a great year down in the minors. I think he was hitting like 220 with a little bit of power. But he got the prospect pedigree. He's got the name, and he did come up and have a pretty good first game. I believe he went 2 for 4 with a steal, as I double checked myself here. Yep, 2 for 4 with a steal in his first game. A steal and a run. And then today, so far, he's 1 for 2. He's got a run, and he's worthy of a pickup if you're in a deeper league. I don't know if I'm picking him up in anything deeper than a 12-man right now. It's just, it's kind of a wait and see because he really wasn't having a great season down in the minors, but he's a young player, highly touted prospect. He was a high draft pick. 6% owned for JJ Bleday on Yahoo, Miami Marlins. Matt, what do you think about JJ?
You know what? JJ is an interesting player. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm feeling it. But he's somebody that definitely poses an interesting threat. He could definitely be a nice little bump into your God, I apologize, guys. Into your lineup. I like his slash line 247, 377, and a 519. With 18 homers to boot and 67. So the kid's just killing it. I think that personally, it was the right time for him to get called up, and he might be a little burst for you guys, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not rushing and running, but he's definitely a speculative ad for sure. But let's go to somebody that we've talked about at the beginning of the year, and that's Stephen Kwan. The Kwan, he's killing it again.
Back up.
He's reminding me of what's his face from last year, Tyler Naquin. He had
that's actually a good comp.
He had a little April, and then he had a little after the All-Star break. So he's like somebody you definitely ride the wave with. Last week he had 6 runs, 1 bomb, 4 ribbies, a steal, batting .474. So I'll take that stuff right off the waiver wire for sure. And over the last month, he's had 18 runs. I apologize. Over the last 2 weeks, 11 runs, 1 bomb, 4 ribbies, 1 steal, batting .383. So that batting average is definitely there. I sound like a broken record with this, but batting average off the waiver wire is key.
Yes, sir, man. Stephen Kwan is a great batting average guy. He's going to chip in steals. He's going to chip in runs. He's actually looks like he's been hitting leadoff for quite a while now. Since at least since July 12th, I could see he's been hitting leadoff since then. He's had some big games, in a doubleheader on July 23rd, he went 4 for 10. July 22nd, he went 3 for 5. So, as my brother Matt says, if you're looking for a little bit of batting average, Stephen Kwan is 29% owned on Yahoo. If you're looking for a couple of steals, you're looking for a couple of runs, a guy who's, going to be hitting at the top of his lineup, go grab Stephen Kwan. And then, you have a little confidence in him too, because he showed that he can hit for batting average in his minor league career. He showed it at the beginning of the season. So I think it's just somebody that you really can go out there and snag if you need a little outfield help. Once again, Stephen Kwan, Cleveland Guardians, 29% owned on Yahoo. So go out there and pick him up. So next, I'll go with the guy who's kind of been tearing the cover off the baseball, been going a little under the radar here, and that's Ramon Urias of the Baltimore Orioles. We know that the Orioles have been playing better baseball of late, and this guy's part of the reason why. He's Ramon Urias is eligible at second, third, and shortstop on Yahoo. He's 54% owned, and his numbers on the year aren't looking too bad. He's starting to heat up. 32 runs, 10 bombs, 34 RBIs. He's hitting 263. Looks like, he's been hitting a little bit lower in the lineup, but I wouldn't be shocked if they moved him up, because the guy's kind of getting it done. So he's more of if you need somebody that's eligible at multiple positions that, is going to provide a little bit of pop, a little bit of batting average, a little bit of runs, a little bit of RBIs, kind of just chips in across the board. Now, not saying he's the answer to your prayers, but he's somebody who's been hot. Go out there and snag him. If you need a Ramon Urias, once again, if you need a little multi-positional eligibility.
Yeah, Ramon is definitely worth at least a ride the wave. Because, the last 2 weeks, 8, 4, 10, 4, 19. I'll take that in a heartbeat over the last 2 weeks. That's some serious push for you. I'm going to win the ribbies category this week. And I'm going to pretty much take home the runs category this week, which is 8 runs from one dude. How you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I got to say. But I mean, he's not a big, sexy name. So that's the problem there. And Baltimore isn't a sexy team. It looks like they might be selling out. So that's the downside. But hey, right now, ride the wave. It may be an incentive for this kid to kind of keep pushing and keep doing what he's doing because, he may be the only player left on that team because I'm hearing trade rumors that Trey Mancini's about to get traded. So, if that happens, there's a clear path for him to really just get higher in that batting order, that like Dom said, and really start, making that production go. Let's move on to our last bat here, I believe.
Sure.
And that's Adam Frazier.
Yes, sir.
This is weird, but sorry, I apologize. Yahoo does not like to. There we go. So he has probably had one of the worst starts to fantasy ever. I hated him when he was on the Yankees, but since he's been in Seattle, he's still been terrible. But it looks like he's probably eaten up a little bit. He was batting 382 over the last 2 weeks. Last week was meh, but still, he didn't kill you. But the last 2 weeks, he had 5 runs, 1 bomb, 3 ribbies, 2 steals, batting 382. Great batting average. I'm going to take that, especially at second base and outfield eligibility. He's at the lower end of what I would go to run the ad, but I mean, second base is very, very rough this year, especially like with Chisholm going down. He's definitely worth at least a speculative at 20% owned. I would definitely ride out and see what I can do with him.
Man, I think you might have been thinking of Todd Frazier, right?
No, Adam Frazier.
He never played for the Yankees.
Oh, I am thinking of Todd Frazier.
So yeah, I got you, my brother.
My bad.
With Adam Frazier, the reason I wanted to throw him on here last year, he had a pretty good year. Adam Frazier, he hit 305 with 83 runs. He's not really a power guy, so it was only 5 bombs and 43 RBIs, but he had 10 steals. So, and he's a career 275 hitter. So I'll say this: the numbers should bounce back up. He should get that batting average up. Should see a couple more steals here towards the end of the year and a couple more runs, right? Especially that Seattle team is playing great. I can see Adam Frazier possibly moving up that lineup if he stays hot. He's got a lot of good games here, recently. A couple 2-hit games in the past, couple weeks. There was a 4 for 7 over across a doubleheader on July 13th. He actually had a bomb and a steal in that game, so it looks like he is heating up here. Once again, as Matt said, if you lost, a Jazz Chisholm or, you're just not doing well at second base, go out there and snag Adam Frazier because I totally think that he could be worth the ad. I think he's going to heat up and have a pretty decent second half. Once again, he's really going to only chip in mainly 3 categories, which is going to be runs, steals, and possibly batting average. I think it bounces back up. I don't see this guy finishing the year with under like a 255 batting average. And to get from 237 to 255, he's going to have to hit, at least 280 along the rest of the way. And that's kind of what I see going forward, So, guys, we're going to wrap up. I don't know if I mentioned this. Adam Frazier is 20% owned on Yahoo. I might have just wanted to make sure I threw it out there again. So let's move on to, our pitchers here. And I'm going to start off with 2 pitchers that kind of go hand in hand here. Let's talk about a couple Oakland Athletics that might get dealt here at the trade deadline. Let's talk about Paul Blackburn and Cole Irvin. Now, the thing is, Paul Blackburn started off like a house on fire. He made a couple adjustments. I know I was touting him at the beginning of the year. He was working on that curveball, and things were just going great. Now, he's really slowed down of recent. So, people, Dom, why are you talking about Paul Blackburn? He's been garbage lately. So, before you kill the messenger, the thing is he's made a significant change. He changed stuff that he was doing from last year and previous years. Curveball looks better. Fastball looks a little better. I think it's hard to wake up every day and, pitch for a team that isn't really doing very well. Now, I know the Houston Astros went out of their way to go fly him to the All-Star game because Oakland wasn't going to do that for the kid. So, maybe he heads over to Houston and, he winds up in that rotation and just, I could see him heading to a good team and being motivated to have a big second half. So on the year, Paul Blackburn, I'm just going to throw out his numbers, 6 wins, 6 losses. It's mainly due to the team. 4.35 ERA across 19 starts, 101 innings, 82 strikeouts, and a 1.26 whip. But I like to point out sometimes, I like to point out FIP, which is fielding independent pitching. It's an ERA indicator, which kind of tells you where the ERA should be, more than where it is. So he's got a 3.93 FIP. So now Paul Blackburn, the thing is, is I think he could be, the rest of the season, maybe like a high 3s ERA, close to a strikeout per 9, not really a strikeout per 9 guy, but close, and maybe like a 1.18 whip. Especially if he heads to a good team, he's going to find his way into a couple more wins. It's again Paul Blackburn. And let me just see if I could find his ownership for you here. He is 48% owned on Yahoo, so he's out there in over half the leagues out there. He goes up against the White Sox next time out. If Luis Robert is still out, that's a manageable lineup to get through. Really just got Tim Anderson and Abreu. Not really too much deeper than
Eloy.
that. Oh, Eloy as well. Eloy's been a little hot and cold though. So, I think Paul Blackburn could work through that if he really, needs to. If you really need somebody, you can go Paul Blackburn. Matt, what are your thoughts on him before we touch on Cole Irvin here?
I think Blackburn is a fair assessment. Not running to pick him up, but if I hear he gets moved, depending on the team, it could be a really nice incentive to pick him up. Like I can see him possibly going to Texans. I can possibly see him going to Houston. I mean, even though I can't really find a rotation spot for him, I can see him going to Boston.
That's true.
I mean, there's a couple outs where I can see him. Even Tampa can use another pitcher. So there's a few spots where I can see him.
Even our Yankees could too. Our Yankees could too.
I would definitely take him with the Yankees too. He's definitely a nice 4 or 5 hole guy. And with that being said, if he gets traded to a contender, probably more of an incentive. His stuff may kind of bounce back, with a little confidence, a little excitement, and, really liking where your situation is going to be at can really drive a person to overperform what they've been doing in the beginning of the year and pretty much make them fantasy gold for that second half. So let's really keep a close eye on him. But I wouldn't pick him up until there's news.
Fair enough.
You want to talk about Cole?
Let's go with Cole Irvin here, right? This guy's numbers are a little bit better. They're pretty impressive, and I didn't even realize how impressive they were until I actually pulled them up myself, right? So on the year, Cole Irvin's looking pretty good. I mean, he's not really a strikeout guy. He's got 102 innings, 70 Ks, 5 wins. But hey, the ERA and the WHIP look great. He's got a 3.08 ERA and a 1.07 WHIP. He's been better of late. Let's check this. Over his last 30 days, Cole Irvin has pitched 34 innings, 3 wins, 23 Ks, 2.65 ERA, and a 0.7 WHIP. So the guy's been on fire of late. He's been pretty good. He was pretty good last year for Oakland. I think he's another guy that can get moved at the trade deadline. It looks like Oakland's going to just sell out and, try and moneyball this thing next year, right? But I'll say this, Cole Irvin goes up against Houston for his next outing, so you might want to be careful with that one. It might be like a time to pick him up, throw him on your bench. You don't start him against Houston, and you see where it goes. Actually, I'm going to point out, he has played Houston twice in his last out of his last 3 outings. He's played Houston twice, 12 innings, 6 Ks. The ERA looks like a 2.75, and the WHIP looks like a 0.07. So he's actually handled Houston pretty good his last couple times out there against them. So, you know what, if you're feeling frisky, I'd say take the leap and you throw Cole Irvin out there against Houston this weekend. You know what, he might just shine again, but he also might get hit. It looks like he's due to get smacked around as well. So, it's a risk reward situation. I'm going to say Cole Irvin, 27% owned on Yahoo, less than Paul Blackburn with better numbers. So, go out there and snag Cole Irvin.
No, he's definitely nice. I didn't realize he was having that kind of season.
Me either.
By the way, the owner's percentage is absolutely outrageous. He's only 27% owned. Did you read off his year stats? I don't remember.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So, I mean, it's just monstrous. I'm pretty excited. I know that he's not going to be available after today. Unfortunately, I can't make room for him. But
it's tough right now.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like a Paul Blackburn situation though, where unless you get the news that he's traded, and if you're in a 15 or deeper, go snag him now if he's available. But anything less than that, your 12s, your 10s, where it starts to get a little bit, little deeper, I kind of might hold out a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, the numbers are kind of worth it. He has a 3 ERA, and he's not a K per 9 guy, but he's definitely not murdering you, and he's helping you out if anything. Suppressing your ERA, keeping it low, chipping in some Ks, and then every once in a while chipping a W when the A's decide to show up for once. So, he's definitely at least worth somewhat of an ad. And hey, if you add him this week and you don't start him against Houston, and then you find out he gets traded on Tuesday to some great team, then you just got the steal of a lifetime. He's definitely worth the stash. And I mean, I don't really have the cojones to roll him out, but if your ERA is already shot for the week and you just need somebody that's actually going to put out a decent start for you, I'd probably roll him out. That's just me, though. He's one of those kind of starts and pickups this week. So we're going to roll right into our next guy here, and that's DL Hall of the Baltimore Orioles. Their number one pitching prospect. The kid is absolutely
behind Grayson Rodriguez.
Right. Well, Grayson Rodriguez is dealing with some stuff right now. So
yeah,
it's one of those things.
He's the number one healthy pitching prospect.
Exactly. And the kid is absolutely outrageous. So if anybody hasn't heard about him, you're going to be running to go stash this kid right now. He is just lights out. Sorry, I hate baseball reference here. So he has a 3.46 ERA, which it's a little high, but for somebody that we're going to say is absolutely ridiculous. But here's where I get to, right? 67 innings, right? Right here's a big number. 113 strikeouts. Wait, let me say it again. 67 innings, 113 strikeouts, okay? That's just absolutely bananas, okay? The whip's a little high, too. He's like a 1.25. A big strikeout guy. You know what he reminds me of? Blake Snell, right? Blake Snell tried to strike out. Blake Snell tried to strike out everybody under the sun when he first came up. And pretty much in his career, he was very successful at doing it, just like Hall. But what does that lead to? Sometimes leaving the ball floating and sometimes just walking a few too many people. But ultimately, he's going to figure it out. He is an excellent stash. And if he even does anything of the sort of what he's doing in the minors, when he gets called up, Lord, it's going to be amazing. And no, I wasn't trying to be Randy there. I'm super excited. He's one of my favorite prospects this year.
Yeah, Matt, I agree with you. He's definitely worthy of a stash right now, especially, and you get into those deeper leagues and your waiver wire, you just look at it and you're like, I don't know who to add. DL Hall is definitely a solid add. I will throw out a couple caveats with the kid. I mean, it's one of the hardest divisions in baseball to pitch in. The AL East is tough. You got, Yankees, you got Tampa, you got Boston, just a lot. And the Blue Jays that have, been scoring runs like crazy. So, I could see why the Orioles are being a little bit slower to call a guy up with these kind of stats is, I can understand it. But as Matt pointed out, he's got a lot of upside. He's 23 years old. Once again, we're talking about DL Hall here, guys. One of the Orioles' top prospects. Let's see what his ownership percentage is looking like on Yahoo. He's free 99 right now, 5% owned. So if you're listening to this, he's probably available in your league. If you need somebody to stash, as Matt read out his stats, he looks like he's just about ready to take the step to the major leagues. I could see him being called up, possibly, beginning of August, maybe middle of August, if everything rolls out right. His last couple of starts were looking outrageous. On July 6th, he struck out 14 over 6 innings, gave up 1 run. His next time out on the July 12th, he went 5.2 innings, struck out 8, didn't give up any runs. And then, on July 17th, again, he went 5 innings, didn't give up any runs, struck out 10. So if you're looking for somebody, it's got a high strikeout upside, I definitely say give this kid an ad. Just with the caveat of, when they call him up, if he's going against one of those good teams, you kind of just pick him up. Might be a wait and see if he especially goes up against the Yankees or the Blue Jays. Might kind of hold him back and just see how that looks. And hey, if he passes the test, then you keep rolling him out with confidence. Once again, guys, DL Hall of the Baltimore Orioles, definitely worthy of a pickup. My brother Matt, I'll let you. No, actually, we got one more guy here before we get into one of Matt's boys here. Let's go with a guy who's coming off the IL, and if he's available in your league, actually might be my favorite pickup out of all the guys we're talking about, and that's Andrew Heaney. Looks like he's the Dodgers helped him figure something out because he's been very, very good on the year in limited innings, right? Only 15 innings, but he's got 23 Ks, a 0.59 ERA, and a 0.85 WHIP. Andrew Heaney is 60% owned on Yahoo, so he's a little bit higher owned. But hey, if he's out there, he's coming back on July 27th, going to start against the Nationals, which are not a good team. I think he's going to go out there and, get to see a big K game from him. I will throw out this caveat, though. He's got them weak phalanges, so he's been known to get hurt, time and time again. But hey, when the guy's healthy, it looks like, he might have turned a corner here. Once again, we're talking about Andrew Heaney.
I mean, Heaney is one of those guys that, should have been great. When he
Yeah.
went to the Yankees, he should have been. He was kind of good, and then fell off a cliff. He figured when he went to the new team again, he kind of did the same trend. He kind of started off hot, and then his flanges kicked in. So people are holding on to him, hoping that he keeps going where picks up where he left off, and that's why I would pick him up, and that's why he's on this list. Even though he's 60% owned, it's
Yeah.
not something we would normally talk about in terms of owner percentage, but at this point, he's definitely worth at least a speculative ad. If he has two bad starts right off the bat, drop him. But I mean, it's one of those guys. He's definitely worth at least an ad for sure. Let's move on to our last arm here, and that's going to be Mr. Nick Lodolo. So Nick is coming off that injury. He's looking real nice. Last two starts haven't been too hot, but I will say something. Last start I kind of threw out the window. St. Louis is just smashing everybody these days. They're absolutely
Yeah.
ridiculous. Tampa Bay held his own up until about the fifth inning, and then he got lit up. But then he walked out against his first start back after the injury, and that was the New York Mets. And, he didn't let up a single run, and he had 8 Ks. And he's doing it against Miami right now. He has 6 Ks in 5 innings and a 140 whip. So I think that he's definitely worth it at this point to at least scoop and see where he takes you. And let's see if he keeps this trend going.
Yeah, I'll say this. I was super, super high on Nick Lodolo coming into the year, as I know Matt was. He kind of 2019 and he missed 2020 with an injury, but he came back in 2021 and he was great again, in the minors. But this year, I'm not sure what's up with him. I'm gonna have to watch. Maybe I'll go back and watch the highlights of today's game because there's something up, man. I'm not sure what it is. It's the control. The control's really bothering me. Actually, Matt and I watched a lot of that game against the Cardinals, and he just didn't look like he had it, man. And he didn't know where he's throwing the ball. He was hitting a bunch of guys. And it could be an issue of maybe he's trying to strike everybody out. So he's overthrowing, right? It could be that. Once again, I have to see a little bit more from him. And I'm just not really sure what I want to do with Nick Lodolo right now. He looks good right now against Miami tonight. He's got 5 innings, 6 Ks, hasn't given up a run. The whip is a little high once again. So, and he's not on a great team or a great ballpark to pitch in. So, I'll tell you, this is 21% owned. If pretty much everyone we talked about isn't available, you can give the kid a shot. But, on the year, his numbers 5.81 ERA, 1.78 whip. The Ks are good, 26 innings, 38 Ks. So if you need a couple of Ks, he's a pretty good K guy. It looks like he might get Baltimore next time out, which isn't a great matchup, but isn't an easy one either. Kind of like middle of the pack right now, as Baltimore's been heating up the past couple of weeks. So, you could go out there and you can give him the shot, and see where things go. Once Nick Lodolo, 21% owned on Yahoo. He give him the shot, but I will throw out the caveat, the control's been a little bit off lately. So, we kind of want to see where things go with the young flamethrower. He's only 24, so he's got a bright future ahead of him. Hopefully he can get his little butt out of Cincinnati there because, just a very tough part to pitch in, as you can go ask Tyler Mahle and the rest of those guys who have been there. But we're going to finish up with a couple of closers here. These are kind of speculative ads, at the moment. The closer situation is getting harder and harder to throw out, good names every week. We do cover a lot of them. So if you guys want some better options, go check the last episode. We kind of try not to repeat ourselves too much here, even though we kind of do find our favorites, over the course of the season. But we're going to start here with a guy who was a young prospect and, was ready to, take over, for Oakland and just be their number one, but it hasn't gone that way due to injuries. And that's AJ Puck. But it looks like he might get a shot at the closers gig here, right? It's going to be interesting. He's got he didn't get the last save, but he did get a save on July 22nd. I think the reason that he didn't get the save the next day was because he pitched 2 games in a row. They wanted to give him a little time off. They don't want to, their guy, hurting himself again after, all these years of injuries, right? But AJ Puck looks great on the year. 2 wins, 2.27 ERA, 0.98 whip. He's got the 1 save that I mentioned, 39 innings, 41 Ks. So if you're down on closers right now and you need to make a speculative ad, go pick up AJ Puck. He's 7% owned on Yahoo, and I think he makes it out of the trade deadline on the team still. So Lou Trevino's been horrible, guys. Absolutely horrible. I would not recommend that man to anybody. I don't think we did recommend him except maybe when he first got the job. But I think AJ Puck takes it over at some point here in the second half. So go pick him up, guys.
Yeah, it's looking that way. I mean, he is incredible. They could be Michael Kopech and him too. I think that
Yes.
right now, they just don't have an option for closer, so that they're probably going to try and just keep him in that, keep his pitch count low, and put him in high leverage positions to get him the experience that he needs, and kind of keep him loose and get him ready for next year. So I
Yeah.
really, 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 really am a big AJ Puck fan. So let's see what happens. I mean, he's been lights out this year, in his opportunities that he's been given. It may take another week or two for them to fully flat out give Trevino the drop, or finally just say, okay, we're going to give Puck the job. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see if he gets one more save. I'm probably adding him. That's just me.
Yeah, totally, totally. Matt, let me grab this next guy here too, because there's a reason I threw him on the list.
Hmm.
Next we're going to talk about Yeri De Los Santos of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and let me throw out the caveat here: David Bednar is the closer, and he will be the closer unless he gets traded. But I could see a lot of teams going out there. I've heard a lot of David Bednar rumors recently, right? And a lot of teams might want him, not necessarily as their closer, but as a setup guy. A lot of teams like the Yankees and Dodgers love to go out there and secure up their bullpens. A lot of those teams that are, making that playoff push could always use a guy like Bednar. And Yeri De Los Santos is the next guy up. He's pitched 19 innings. He's got 3 saves, 22 Ks, 2.84 ERA, and a 105 whip. So very, very impressive numbers for the kid, right? And as I said, I know it's getting harder and harder to find closers on the waiver wire. This guy is 2% owned. Once again, Yeri De Los Santos, Pittsburgh Pirates. He's been very, very impressive. It looks like they're not afraid to give him a couple of saves as he's got 3 on the season, 2% owned once again. So if you really need a dart throw here, I think this is a guy that you could throw a dart at. Hey, if Bednar doesn't get traded, then you just drop him. And as we said, the trade deadline's August 2nd, only a little bit away. And at minimum, De Los Santos is going to help you in Ks. He's going to help you in ERA, and he's going to help you in whip. Who knows? Maybe he even throws in a sneaky save. So I think you could totally do worse at the moment, especially if you lost a guy like Michael King in those deeper leagues. I know Michael King just went out, and he was a kind of holds, bullpen guy. I think De Los Santos could totally do very similar things that Michael King did this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. I don't think that you know he's going to have much value, like Dom said, until this guy gets moved.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I don't know too much about the guy, in all honesty, so I would take Dom's word at it. He's pretty good at this thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw his his name out there as like, because I know in deeper leagues getting harder and harder to find guys that are closing. So you want to get ahead of the game, right? That just kind of goes back to the top of the episode where we were talking about tips, going into the second half. This could be considered a tip, right? Get the closers before they get the job, because then you have the guy, and then at worst case scenario, getting help in all of these other good categories, Ks, ERA, and whip. And guys, we're gonna wrap here. We're doing everything we can to help. And once again, if you guys enjoy us, we appreciate all the love. And we're here. We're here. Always don't be afraid to DM us questions. We always answer. And guys, until next time.
Peace.
See you.